Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Danny Wysentowski. On today's St. Louis on the Air, we want to return to a conversation we had last March. It's about a mentorship and friendship that's endured for more than 20 years. Here's host Elaine Cha.
How does a friendship start? What makes it stick and do so long enough to last 5, 10, even 20 years? For our next two guests, it all began in 2002 with a yes to Big Brothers Big Sisters here in St. Louis. A yes that's held them together for 2 decades and counting. Here to share the secret to their success are Kiara Brown, not so little sister. Welcome.
Hello, guys.
And Kristen Slaughter, big sister, and now the new CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri.
Thanks, Elaine. Welcome.
And full disclosure, I used to work over at Big Brothers Big Sisters, so this is a little bit of a reunion on air. Now, let's go all the way back 20 years. Why and when did you decide, Kiara, that you wanted to be a little sister?
Wow, I have to jog my memory here. I remember in school, they had the program. And at first it was just about fun, having an example. You'll do certain things. And I said, well, let me sign up, not knowing what to expect. And I remember like it was yesterday, being in the room. I think I had a purple shirt on. And we did gingerbread houses, I believe. I think it was like April or something. I don't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. But that one day turned into months, years, and now we're here. So I'm grateful for my big sister, just for the example, her dedication, her commitment to still have a relationship with me. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful for that.
And Kristen, what was it that made you decide to become a big sister?
Mm-hmm. I just felt like it was a part of me that was missing. When I started working for the organization, I did the work every day, but I just didn't feel in it. And that's what really, when I went to Adams Elementary for the first time to meet with the principal, when in my role, I said, you know what, if I'm going to tell people they need to do this, I need to do it. I need to be a big sister. So it was a real simple yes that I wanted to do it.
And so you were working for the organization already. And Kiara, you are the one who initiated then the way that people usually get connected with the agency. Your family also has to be in it. So did you bring this up with your family as something you wanted to do?
I did not. I believe it may have been talked about at school. I was in the 3rd grade, you guys. Oh, my goodness. I think it was talked about in school, and they had, like, sign-up forms. Okay. And so I signed up and said, hey, what could you expect? And here I am.
Yeah, sure. So did you hit it off right away? I mean, Kiara, you talked about the gingerbread house, and you remember what color shirt you were wearing. As an adult, Kristen, befriending a young person, was it at all awkward in the beginning? How did you get over those first few meetings?
Yeah. I remember, again, it was 3rd grade. She was 8, so it's so crazy. But I can still remember things very vividly that first, probably about day or week or month. And at first, Kiara was shy. She comes from a family of, she has 9 other siblings. So as you can imagine, getting a word in edgewise sometimes was difficult. And so sometimes Kiara wasn't as talkative. But she was always so curious. And she always was so thoughtful, always asked about me, my family. So I do feel like we hit it off from day one in our own special way, and our relationship really grew from there.
So 1 among 9. Where are you in that order?
Last one, actually.
Okay. Yes. So you had lots of older siblings then.
I did.
What was it that was different about having Kristen as a big sister?
Kristen, I think we had a conversation when we was at Bombay Junkies Food a few weeks back. And I just always appreciate her for the role she played in my life. She showed me things. I've experienced so many things that I probably would not have had experience without her. Mm-hmm. So just stepping outside the normal.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything, Kristen, that you felt that you had in common with Kiara that you were not expecting to share?
Yes, definitely. When you think about an age range of, almost a 20-year difference in our age, you may think, oh, they wouldn't have a lot in common, but we did. We both were very passionate people, very entrepreneurial. We believed in our girl power. We did like to do a little shopping together and baking. And I think all that came with just us spending more time together. A lot of long talks in the car. And what else do you want to do, Kiara? And she was always up for a new adventure, and so was I.
Now, relationships often change as we enter into new life stages. And with youth mentorship, moving to different levels of school, like elementary to middle, and then especially middle to high school, can really change dynamics because of what's happening and sometimes what isn't. Did you two encounter any of that? And if so, what made it worth it to kind of push past those changes that were happening in your life? Kiara?
I don't think too much changed, honestly, Kristen. I think we had a very open dialogue, conversation. I was a good kid, so there's nothing for her to worry about. And that aspect of, kids going through high school and, that social change that you go through, just puberty and your outlook on life changes. If anything, the conversation changed. Mm-hmm. Letting her know one of my experiences, because it's definitely different from 3rd grade to 11th grade. Sure. I'm seeing things differently. My mindset has changed. So nothing has really changed to me, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I would say Kiara was not the typical teenager. She got it like I would think a person would be in their mid-20s. And so the conversation changed. But Kiara was very open with me about what was going on. School changes, a couple different times in high school. But she always just really stayed focused on what she wanted to accomplish, to graduate from high school and continue on with her entrepreneurial spirit. So I don't think we just kept open communication.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And was that something that always just came naturally? Did you require any sort of support from the program at any point, or was it pretty smooth sailing all the way through?
I say smooth sailing. We're both Aquarius, as she stated. We both have passion. We both share similar characteristics. So I think we just mesh very well. Mm-hmm. And some things that's understood don't have to be, said.
Yeah. Is that something that people noticed in you two, that you were very similar, Kristen?
I think sometimes once I think people got past maybe the difference in age and the difference in the way that we look, it's like, wow, those two individuals are kindred souls. And I think also, Kiara just being such a kind person and giving grace through the years, I think that's what also just continued to make our friendship continue to grow.
So she gave you grace.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that a little bit.
I really would. I went through a lot of changes. Kiara knew me when I was newly married, no children, newer in my career. And over the last 20 years, that has changed a lot. Become seasoned, a little more seasoned, stepped into a new role at work, have a 14-year-old son now, and have gone through other personal changes. Yeah. And so I think that Kiara gave me grace along the way. And when I needed to say, I got to step back just a little bit for the next month, she's like, absolutely, take the time you need. And I'm here when we need to talk again.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that stands out as a mannerism or maybe a speech habit that you've picked up from one another?
I think her ability to express her words Like when she write cards, it's always the right things. You know exactly what to say and put it in such a way, just like, oh, thank you. So I think that. So I have taken that to. Sometimes I can say too much. Sometimes I say not enough. And I think that has helped me with my personal life and expressing my feelings and towards just things in general. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. I think with Kiara, she has always. Like started with, she's always been curious. She's always also just asked the right questions. And I think sometimes it's not just talking, but it's also asking other questions and just being a good listener as well. And so, as you can tell from this interview, Kiara is quite eloquent for her age and for anyone. And so I always, whenever we get together, I just love her questions she asks, but I always just love listening to her and different perspectives. We like to kind of push and pull on different things, and I think that's an important part of a friendship.
For sure.
That's Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri President and CEO Kristen Slaughter and entrepreneur and stockbroker Kiara Brown talking about their more than 2-decade friendship and mentorship. We'll have a lot more of their conversation with host Elaine Shaw in just a moment. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome back. Let's return to Elaine Shaw's conversation with Kiara Brown and Kristen Slaughter, two women who met more than 2 decades ago as part of a big sister-little sister relationship at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri. Here's Elaine.
Now, it started with a program and clearly has outgrown the program. Is there anything that you feel you were able to experience together because you began with a mentorship program explicitly?
I think since we started in a formal mentorship, and we had so many experiences together when she was younger, I think as we went through other life changes, it really helped us. So, for example, I talked about earlier that I'm now a mom of a 14-year-old. She's now a mom of 2. And so I think us going through that together really, we learned from each other. And she saw, she's Auntie Kiara to my son Brennan. And so I now consider I can be an auntie to her 2 little ones as well. And so I think that we, even though we had children at a little bit different time, we really, because we built that great friendship and mentorship earlier in life, we were able to share that together.
So we're going to play a game. How well do you know each other? So who is more likely to cry during a movie?
Ooh, that's good. I think both. What do you think both, Kristen?
I do.
We're women.
I know.
What's the last movie you saw that brought tears to your eyes?
I watch barely any TV since I have children, so
that's good parenting.
For sure.
I have another question. Who is more likely to injure themselves on vacation?
That would have to be me, Kristen.
Really?
Yes.
Has it happened?
Yes, I get going a little too fast, Kiara, as you know. I think I can do everything twice as fast as I really should. So, I may stumble and fall, get on a bike, try to ride too fast. So I'm going to out myself here, Kiara.
Okay, that's okay.
Now, who is more likely to lose their car in a parking lot?
I've had my experiences with that. So I'll say me. What do you think, Kristen? I think you have great memory.
Probably you, Kiara. That is a fair one.
Who is more likely to get the milkshake and the chili cheese fries? Ooh,
you know
neither
what?
Of you?
Kristen has always been very conscious of what she eats. Even when I remember, I think her name was Jackie. I can't remember her name. And I didn't know this until we were at Big Brother Big Sister, and she was like, Kristen hates McDonald's. And I was like, I didn't know that, but we always go to McDonald's. But now I think we're very conscious. So Kristen always has a salad, probably some grilled chicken.
So has that rubbed off on you?
Neither.
No.
To the question, probably neither.
Okay. And the last one here. Who's more likely to make a friend while waiting in line?
I think that could potentially be
I think that
both.
can definitely be both of us too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Before, when I was waiting for lunch, the last time we had our birthday lunch, and I made new friends with a couple before she got there. I got her 5 minutes earlier. I was like, oh, these are my new friends here in line. But Kiara is one of the most personable people you'll ever meet. I know you can't always tell everything on radio, but she's just she can make anyone feel welcome.
Thank you, Kristen.
What hasn't changed between the two of you after all these years?
I think communication, the ability to communicate. I think a lot of times as life happens to all of us, and, we have to be distant. We don't talk as much, but as soon as we get together, it's like we've never been apart. So I think communication, the ability to just communicate and be open and to share, it's just never enough time for us to, just really spend that time. But it happens.
I think also celebrating and being each other's biggest cheerleaders has not changed. I think that's always been from day one. And I think that's been a really important part of, even when we have the down times, okay, let's get behind each other. How can we help each other? I think that's really important.
Over the years, what has been the most challenging conversation to have?
For me, when I was pregnant with my second child, I didn't tell Kristen until later on because I didn't want her to view me in a different light. I don't know. And so when I finally told her, and that's how I felt, she said, don't ever feel like that. All I can do is just tell you the best that I can tell you or give you the best advice possible. So I think that was the biggest challenge because I didn't want to hold it from you, but I was like, I don't know what she's going to think or, but she definitely accepted that and accepted me and my children and where I'm at in my life. So I'm grateful.
And what do you recall of that? Of that conversation?
Yeah, I am a believer, especially as, now almost 20 years at the time, it would have been like 18 years of a relationship that I never wanted her to feel like I wasn't proud of everything she did. And I think that we all, he's another miracle child. So no, I was so happy for her. And I felt bad that she would have thought that I wouldn't be. But, I think that you never know. Everyone has different viewpoints and that kind of thing. But Kiara is the most amazing mom. And now she has 2 little ones that can look up to her every day. So I was so incredibly excited for her, actually.
And for you, was there a conversation that was particularly challenging or difficult for you to have with Kiara?
Yeah, I do. I think that when there has been so much racial tension that's happened in the St. Louis community, I think that I a lot of times we did talk about that, and we did talk about Michael Brown's death, and we did talk about what can we start to do differently within the community. And I think those can be difficult conversations, but Kiara always made me feel like I was seeking to understand, and also what can I do to also be a change agent and help the community. And so I think those can be difficult conversations, but it's also about the way you come about it, and it's also the way you're willing to take coaching and feedback on it as well.
Mm-hmm. Kristen, you are a very committed person, along with being friends with Kiara for 20 years. You've also spent a lot of time working at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri. And just recently, you've been named the organization's new CEO and president. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
What is it that keeps you at Big Brothers Big Sisters?
I could boil it down easily, but I will expand on it, I promise. I think what keeps me here is this, the Kiara stories, the success stories of what mentoring really is all about, and that the successes that you can see when you put a caring adult in the life of a child that's now a grown adult. I think that's one piece. And I really am just looking forward to continuing to expand our programs and services here in the St. Louis region, so we can continue to expand the opportunities to more youth, to more schools, because there's a continued need for that. And so I've stayed committed because I wake up every day. I'm a passionate person. I believe in what we do. I believe in our mission. I believe in what can happen. And so that's why I've stayed for now at this position, now Big Brothers Big Sisters, almost 22 years.
What is your big sister's superpower? What is your little sister's superpower? What is your superpower together?
Just being me, being my authentic self. I think in the world of where we are now, we can get caught up in being what social standards, so what the society think is how you should be. So I'm still learning every day.
I'll speak to Kiara's superpower, even though she says she's still growing, learning. Kiara's superpower is her passion and her smile and her way of making people feel so welcome. I think that is an attribute that there aren't as many people as we probably would like to have that. And she has that. And I hope that she can just continue to share that with me and make me continue to believe in myself as well.
Always.
What would you both like to say to each other about your friendship?
Well, first of all, congratulations on
Thank
becoming
you.
CEO. They definitely have a great person in position. Just thank you. I appreciate you for your dedication, your commitment to change and to be the voice and to be the example. We do need more of that. So just thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah. I have similar sentiments. Thank you. When you become a mentor in our program, they always say, oh, you're going to get more out of it. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that. And there are some days I do feel like you've taught me more than I could have ever taught you, Kiara. And I also think that we just need to continue to have more people have friendships that span this long. I'll tell you, when Kiara and I went to lunch that day just recently, and the inspiring words you said back to me put me over the top to say I'm gonna go for the CEO role. And I haven't even told Kiara that, but I walked away from there and I said, you know what? I think I can do this. I'm gonna put myself up for CEO. And Kiara really was one of those determining factors. And I think that goes to show how much influence she's had over the last 20 years.
Kiara Brown is a not-so-little sister who is a St. Louis native here and a mom, an entrepreneur, and a stockbroker. And we're also here with Kristen Slaughter, who is the big sister and now the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri. Thank you so much for spending some time here today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That conversation initially aired in March of last year.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
St. Louis on the Air proudly supports local artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.